Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
Radio City Talk.
And welcome to a very special edition of Mental Health Monday as we mark the start of Mental Health Awareness Week. Throughout the course of the week, you're going to be hearing loads of different conversations about mental health. And this is something that we're working with other radio stations right across the country to bring you information on, including the Mental Health Minute. This was broadcast across pretty much every single radio station in the country to highlight the work that's going on out there in regard to mental health and the need for us all to be talking about it. This is the Mental Health Minute.
Are you listening? Are you really listening? Answer these questions out loud. What does SHOP spell? And what do you do at a green light? Stop? Or should you go on green? Katie?
I'd say stop. I mean, most people do. So while we are listening, we're not really listening. Jamila?
We do it all the time, in one ear and out the other. Life can just get too busy, can't it, Mr. Fry?
It can indeed, but there are people out there desperate to be heard, and you can help by taking the time to listen, even if you're a prince.
Being able to talk about how you're feeling is essential for keeping mentally fit and healthy. So maybe now is the time for us to stop and to really listen.
Right now, you are one of 20 million people listening.
On more than 300 radio stations.
And each and every one of us has the power to make a difference to someone.
Just by taking a minute to stop.
And to listen. To really listen.
It's the Mental Health Minute. There you go. That was broadcast across every single radio station in the country. If you click on the link online to hashtag Mental Health Awareness Week, you'll find links to all kinds of stuff that's going on this week. I've noticed Young Minds, they've got their page up and about. Question I wish my parents had asked me. That's a really fascinating one. The Mental Health Foundation have got their own information up there too. You can find all this on social media. Time to Change, they've got the work that they've got up and running too. Follow the hashtag Mental Health Awareness Week, and we, of course, here on the programme will have loads of information about Mental Health Awareness Week over the course of this week. For now, though, we're going to spend some time, and I thought it was important, given conversations we've had recently, to spend some time with some young people to hear about a foundation which has been set up in the last couple of months. But already I've been massively impressed by the work that is going on at the Lee Cooper Foundation, and I'm delighted to say two guests in the studio who are resplendent in their Lee Cooper Foundation gear. They've got the clobber, the hoodies and the T-shirts. So let's welcome to the programme Lily Spendlove and Emily McChrystal. Lily, Emily, thank you for your time. Great to see you. Thanks for coming on the programme today. You've got the clothes.
Yeah.
You've got the name. And you've got Lee's name in the foundation. Just tell us about Lee. Tell us who he is.
So Lee was the life of the party. He was a school scholar. He was the person who people would go to with their problems. And Lee had a very vulnerable side that he showed with his close friends, such as me, Emily, and a couple of others, but there was a big side that no one knew, no one second-guessed what he was thinking. And when Lee died in February 22nd, that's when we decided to, in April, set up a foundation directed to teenagers, because we realised there is a huge gap. There's no mental health services. Well, there is some, but where there is some, the waiting lists are up to a year. So we decided to be the bridge in between teenagers with mental health issues, and we are the bridge between them receiving help.
How old was Lee?
Lee was 17.
And I guess sometimes people hear, and we're all in a risk of doing this, where we talk about stats. 226 young people lost to suicide. What's it like, Emily, when you've got somebody so close to you and suddenly they're not there anymore? And they're gone.
It's just a gap that cannot be filled. And I think with what we're doing with the foundation, we're not trying to fill that gap or talk about statistics. We try to avoid that as much as we can. As much as it's hard hitting to hear the amount of numbers, it can just become numbers. And we wanted, especially with our name and everything that we do, it's in Lee's name. It's a memoir of him, I guess. And we always used to have loads of rants and the system is a mess and we need to fix this and fix that, just as many young people and adults alike do. But I think we just wanted to turn that angst and annoyance into something positive.
I was going to say, at what point, because you guys are only just up and running, at what point did you think, let's do something? Because of course, if you experience something like that, for young people like you, it must have been incredibly traumatic and a great deal of grief that you were dealing with. Was it straight away? Was it a few months later? What was the time frame like?
The initial aim was to do an assembly raising awareness, but we got told that it was too sensitive. So that's when we thought people shouldn't be directing a group of young people who want to help other young people away. They should be bringing us in to raise awareness. So we went back to Knowsley Council. We met with a lady called Jackie who's been fabulous. She's helped us so much. She's helped us getting started, and we actually wouldn't be here without her, would we? So when we did want to do the assembly, we took the aims that we had for that and the message we had for the assembly and brought it into our own little foundation. Which
is quite something, actually, because they often say, don't they, that if you have got a conversation to have around suicide, that everyone's like, oh, well, it's too serious, don't talk about it. But actually, I think the evidence suggests that if you do talk about it, people are more likely to open up.
Definitely.
To say if they're thinking about something like that.
A lot of people still need to be shown how to have the conversations and be told the right questions to ask, because it is a sensitive topic, but it is a conversation that needs to be had. Because if you say to someone, are you thinking of suicide, you don't put the thoughts in the head. If they are thinking of suicide, they've already got them. You aren't giving them to them, and I think that's something that a lot of people need to realise. You
guys seem pretty switched on to all of this, Emily. In terms of, have you done like a lot of research? Is it just stuff now that you've learned? Obviously, you've had your own personal experience, but then you've backed that up with stuff you've picked up through presumably the internet resources, people that you've spoken to along your journey.
Yeah, definitely. We're trained in quite a lot of things. We got trained up by Papyrus, which are amazing. They were brilliant. And by a man called Jinka, and he gave us suicides prevention awareness training. And that was super helpful. And we just we were a bit cheeky with things. We were like, can you do it for free? And we'd ask for just like free services, free training. And we just got as much as we could under our belt. And again, it's just social media really. And we're in such an age that social media is really big. So it's easy to find anything that you need. So it's basically just a mix of social media, training, connecting with other groups who have similar aims to us. And that's it really.
So in terms of then reaching out to sort of fellow young people, what sort of reaction have you had? I imagine there's a great deal of support because people want to back you. But have you had reactions which suggest that actually the reason why you set up the Lee Cooper Foundation is already starting to bear fruit?
Yeah, so the majority of responses have been really positive. Young people have always been super eager to speak to us, to come to our sessions. We run drop-in sessions, and that's completely run by us. And it's just like a safe space for teens to just have a sense of community and understanding. So that was really positive in terms of our target audience in a sense, but we do have a lot of older people being like, oh, they're just angry teens who want to change things and it's going to be a fad and it's going to run out and whatever, but we kind of use that as a motivation rather than
especially when it comes to going to university and stuff. A lot of people think when we go our own routes then the foundation will fall apart, but we're more motivated now to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I don't, and this is the thing where young people don't do this, but older people do this, whereby they see something where people have decided to do something. They've seen something where young people have decided to make a change, be it on mental health, be it on the climate, and they realise it's something that they probably should have been aware of, something they should have done something about, but didn't. So what they try and do is try and talk people like you down and say, well, you'll just blow it, or you won't care in a bit, or it's just a fashion thing. And they said it with this programme, well, you'll do it for a few weeks, and 2.5 years later, we're still doing it here on the radio, and you're with us today. But I think that says more about them.
Definitely.
Than it says about you.
Yeah, they should be backing us because we're providing a service that they're neglecting. So they should be supporting us rather than trying to get rid of us.
Yeah, well, or it's that thing, isn't it? Well, if you weren't doing it, then somebody might turn to the internet and type in what they're feeling. Yeah. And rather than your foundation name crops up and a link to a drop-in session or a session or a sports session that you're involved in, nothing comes up. And they think nothing's out there for them.
Yeah, because people who suffer with poor mental health feel isolated anyway. So if you're going to the internet where it's huge, it's extensive, it's worldwide, and you're still not finding anything that is specific to what you need, it's even more isolating.
Just tell us about where you're based in the region, because of course you've got the Lee Cooper Foundation name emblazoned across there, and I guess if people type in, mental health, teenagers, type in your name from all over the planet, they'll come and find you. Where have you been operating locally?
We are based in Knowsley. The drop-in sessions are in the old schoolhouse just by Sylvester Primary School, and the sports programme that's currently taking place is in Valere in Heighton Leisure Centre. So we are Knowsley Heighton based, but we have started spreading out. We have got a couple of exciting things coming up.
Are you going to give us those exclusives today?
Yeah.
You are? Excellent. Right. Hold on for the exclusives. We've got Lily and we've got Emily with us in the studio from the Lee Cooper Foundation. In regard to Lee and that sort of friendship that you had with him, the type of person that he was. How often, Lily, is he in your mind when you're coming up with these new ideas, where you're thinking about what should we do next? You're very much always thinking about Lee.
Constantly, all the time. Like, he has took like a big piece of all of us away, but he's left like a Lee-shaped hole that no one's going to replace. But it's sort of comforting because it shows how good of a person he was. No one will compare to Lee Thornley, and it's a nice way to remember him because he loved helping other people. So for us to do it in his name, it is really comforting, isn't it?
And even in a sense of like, he was part of the LGBTQ plus society, so like everything we do is very much inclusive, and we're very much like, we want to get to minority groups because the suicide rate for gay teens is significantly higher, same with the trans community, to any other demographic in society. So we really want to make sure that we're ticking every box, we're making sure everyone's included. And Lee was very big in like the drag community, so we loved just expressing gender in that sense. So we want to make sure that we're making everyone, no matter where they're from, no matter what walk of life they are, that we get them help that they need to get.
Can I ask you about the sort of the themes that you're starting to sort of hear emerge when you got the drop-in sessions, and I know you got blogs and things like that on your website. What sort of things are you finding that young people are talking to you about, or wanting to express in regard to how they're feeling about themselves?
I think it's a sense of learning how to navigate, how to talk about it, because sometimes you'll just get teens and they'll just say, I just feel how I feel. And sometimes it's quite hard to break down that barrier of them finding the words to describe what it is that they're feeling. And we're very big on, you don't have to describe it. There's other ways to navigate how you're feeling. So we'd use things like art. It doesn't matter if you go all rubbish, we're terrible, but we still love doing it. Or whether that's poetry. We had one of our group members, Rosa, she'd done a spoken word poem during group, and everyone was really moved by it. And I think it's just finding their ways of self-expression that's really important, that we'd like to make sure is pivotal to our group. Because
that's quite something, isn't it? Because you're talking there about not just like talking about your emotions, and we heard the mental health minute before, where you got people like Katy Perry, Prince, let's talk, let's have those conversations. But actually, you guys are finding that you've almost got to teach people how to talk in the first place, and that actually just goes to show how much work there is still to go, right? That we're not in a point of just going, right, let's all now talk about it, because people are going, I don't know how to talk about how I feel.
We were talking about that before. There's been a lot of discussions that I've seen, and a lot of people are raising awareness,
which is great.
Which is great, and people should continue doing that. But there also needs to be awareness of services, because a lot of young people who reported self-harm, when they've been asked how did they first get thoughts of it, they couldn't describe how they were feeling, looked to the internet and seeing responses of, I didn't know how I felt, so I self-harmed. And it is a way of coping, but there should be other routes that they should be able to go down.
Yeah, and of course the first option should always be a positive one, shouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
If you type in those things, you want to be finding organisations who go, if you feel like that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Come and have those conversations as well. How big have the sort of the groups got, Emily, in terms of when you have the drop-ins? Have you had like numbers showing up, people signing up, taking part?
Yeah, a lot of people. We were really surprised by how many people turns up. In group, there's about between 10 and 15 young people who come, and we only set the group up in about, was it in May?
February.
Yeah. The groups didn't. Yeah. Anyway, it was
February.
not long ago, and we're just like so shocked by how well it's being received, because we were a bit nervous in a sense of like, well, when we were like 15, 16, would we have wanted to go to a group where there was no older people and it was just teens? Because I think, especially when you're a young teen, other teenagers who are a little bit older can be a little bit intimidating. Like, you'd walk past a group of teens and you put your head down, you'd be a bit like, oh, but it's being received really well, and I think that's mainly down to how much we're putting it out there and spreading the word. And there's older people who are supporting us, and we've been into different schools, and the parents have came up to us and said, like, don't let my kid know that I've mentioned it, but could you give them a little message on Instagram or anything like that? And I think because we're quite big on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything, it's easier for teens to message us before they come to group and say, I'm a little bit nervous, can someone meet me at the door? And we'll go meet them at the door, or anything that they need. We're very accommodating to them, aren't we?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that thing of sort of by teenagers, for teenagers, is that going to be like very much at the heart of what you're doing? Even in 15 years' time, when you're not teenagers anymore, you'll have to bring in some new teenagers.
Yeah, that is exactly our plan. Some new trustees, because I think it's a good slogan and it's a safe slogan for people for teenagers especially, it's something ran by people the same age for their age, because I think there's a lot of stigma around older counsellors not being as understanding as younger people, because the generation is different, a lot different compared to the older generations.
And there's different struggles that can come with mental illness as well. So if you're turning to social media to be an outlet for your emotions, you might come across really triggering things online, but someone who's older and isn't really aware of triggering things online would just say, oh, just turn your phone off. But it's not that easy in this generation. It's harder to navigate.
But is that a responsibility that you've decided to take on, that actually, because you're young and you're not sort of trained medical professionals, that if someone does come to you, that you've got to offer your expertise as a teenager, but at the same time be aware that there might be something deeper going on, or you might need to get the advice from more adult services or whatever it would be, so that that young person can get the right sort of get pointed in the right direction?
Yeah, well, definitely we work alongside Papyrus, work alongside Knowsley Council, we work alongside Comics Youth.
Yeah, we have a really good signpost system, don't we?
Yeah, we have lots of signposts, and we're trained in safeguarding, health and safety, equality and diversity, everything that like legally we need to be provided with, we are. So we're also trained in talking and listening therapy, so we know the stages that need to be talked. It's just it's easier for us to know what's going on with the kids when they're telling us directly. And I think when you're speaking to an older person, it's easier to sugarcoat it a little bit. But when you feel like you're speaking to a peer rather than a professional, that conversation's a little bit more natural, and then it's easy to show them where they need to go for help.
So I was going to ask you that. Do you find that young people sort of say to you, look, I've not been able to say this with somebody else? Like they're having that conversation with you because you are also a young person?
Yeah, and I think it's a lot easier to have conversations with people who you don't go home to. You can keep it very separate. Like, a lot of them struggle with talking to the parents about things, and that could be down to the relationship or even the age. So it is positive to see that they do look to the Lee Cooper Foundation as an outlet for talking about the problems. In
terms of your own, you've been on that many courses and you've got that many qualifications now. Do you think that your own sort of journeys in life, career-wise and everything like that, have been shaped by your experience? Do you feel like sort of this is a world that you're looking to sort of jump into with both feet now?
Definitely. Yeah, we've already had this conversation, haven't we? Because before this all started, we were very much just go to college, go to uni, get a degree. That's the only pathway in life. But now we've just proven to ourselves that you don't need a piece of paper to prove that you can do all these things. If you have a drive and a passion for something, you can do it.
You're the same?
Yeah, because I'm looking to go into a psychology degree, so it is a field that I'm really interested in. And I will be using the degree to help the foundation.
So we've got Emily and we've got Lily with us in the studio from the Lee Cooper Foundation. They're here for the Mental Health Monday being broadcast across Mental Health Awareness Week as well. You can get involved on the show today. Hashtag Mental Health Monday and the hashtag Mental Health Awareness Week has got loads of links online if you want to find out some of the local services as well. We've already mentioned Papyrus. They've got brilliant resources online. And of course, if you want to find out more information about any other matters that are going on from a mental health point of view, use the Hub of Hope. If you just type wherever you are or the postcode into the Hub of Hope, or use the location device in your device, it'll find mental health services close to you. Can we talk now, guys, about sort of young people and mental health? It's like a strange conversation that people have when they try and go, oh, young people and depression, young people and stress, young people and exams, young people and social media. Are we having the right conversations about how we help young people, do you think, Emily? What are the things that we're getting wrong at the moment in regard to helping people open up about mental health and be more aware of maybe the help that's out there for them?
I think the main thing is how to have the conversation and the words that we use. So in a sense of, if someone is trying to speak to you and you say, it's okay, you can talk to me, and then they do talk to you, and then you say, oh, it's okay, just calm down, write how you're feeling down. Like it's simple issues to really big things, and while those small reminders might help, there's a bigger issue going on behind closed doors. So while someone might say, I'm really stressed about my exams, it might not be just their exams, it might be other things going on in their life. So I think it's important to change the vocab that you're using when you're speaking to people. So say, yes, you can talk to me, but then if you don't know what to say, you don't have to know what to say. You just have to let them know that they can still talk to you. So if you don't know what to say, so, oh, okay, well, I saw this thing on Instagram that might help, or have you tried this Facebook page, or there's different things. Or if you just say, thank you for telling me, that's enough sometimes.
It's interesting, Lily, because, you know, young people, there's an idea that young people don't really speak, but actually you talk to each other, don't you?
Yeah.
You might not always communicate with the adult world, but actually young people are more than confident, often talking among each other. And actually, if that help comes from within a friendship or from within a peer group, I imagine it can feel like it's kind of got more value because it's kind of kept within that organisation.
Yeah, and I think in a friendship group, you get to know each other on a personal level, ways which psychologists and counsellors won't. So you will be able to read people and you will know which is suited for them, because the stigma around counsellors is they have a set list of ways to help people, and they don't shove it down your throat because they are really useful, but our approach is to do with rather than do to. So we will, through the drop-in, we do sessions to teach our kids how to healthily cope mentally, and they can apply them skills in daily life, whereas it's different to just giving them a booklet of information and sending them away.
Yeah, but then in regards to sort of the point at which you make it like an intervention or step in, presumably if you're having those conversations and someone's saying, I'm stressed because of maybe exams, so you teach them how to sort of sit exams, they've still kind of got to do the exams, you know.
Exactly.
I'm stressed about an exam which I've got in a week's time. That exam is coming, and a week is a long time, not only to revise for the exam, but also to change your mental state around that. This is something which actually should be coming, you know, a year before.
Exactly.
Where you can say, look, this is what's coming over the course of the year. Here's how we'll build to it. And that allows the young person, the child, to sort of build up that resilience so that when it comes to a week before, they can go, okay, I've prepared myself up to this point. Now I just need to get myself over the line. In the same way, you've always got to pass exams. You've got to have job interviews and pass driving tests, and those things will always come. But it's about having the mindset and the ability to tackle it and deal with it when it does arrive.
Exactly, and we're very big in that in group, aren't we? We do stress that a lot, and 80% of your life are things that happen that you can't control. They just happen, but that small 10%, you can control how you deal with it and how you address it. So while you can't change the fact that you have an exam, you can change how you look at that exam. It's not a test of how good you are, it's a test of just exam practice. It's a test of what you've gained through the year or what you have not gained. And I think it's important to just change how you look at obstacles. And again, as we were saying before, people in the council might look at us and say, oh, well, they've got uni soon, they're not going to be doing the foundation very long, but they see university as a hurdle, but we see it as an opportunity to see how high we can jump rather than how low we're going to fall.
Put that on your next T-shirt. That was a good quote, that. Producer John,
I'll write it down.
Make sure we've got that as a little clip there, just so that Emily can put that on her next CD, because I think she'll definitely get a job when people read that. Lily Spendlove and Emily McChrystal are with us in the studio from the Lee Cooper Foundation. So can I mention social media? Because you mentioned it, and strangely, you've mentioned it in a positive way in terms of how social media can help. There might be a lot of people listening to this, Lily, who will presume that social media is part of the problem of what young people are dealing with at the moment. As a young person, what's been your experience of it?
With social media, I do agree with most of the population. There's a huge pressure on body image and different perceptions of people's lives. Like, it can be two very completely different stories of what people share online and what people are actually living like. And I think recently there's been exposure on social media of the realities of mental illness, because mental illnesses on social media can be glorified in a strange way, and there's been a lot of dispute because some images were released of, say, people living, say for example, messy bedrooms. There'll be lists of people like slating them for the bedroom, saying negative things, but they don't think about the mindset that person could be in. And there's a very fine line between what someone is dealing with and what they can show other people, because it is really easy to put a mask on, and I think social media is the perfect mask.
How do you deal with that in terms of if young people come to you and say that actually the problem they're facing is that sort of online trolling, that thing of I'm putting things up and it's getting this reaction? How do you advise people in regards to that without saying, you know, the old-fashioned thing of, well, just turn your phone off then?
Yeah, I think we do teach our young people that social media isn't the enemy. It's not the be-all and end-all, but it is a big part of young people's lives, a big part of our lives. And I think we always give our kids, like, here's really good resources online, here's really good things online. And we always post about accounts to follow and apps to get on your phone that can help. So, like, Headspace is really good for meditation and yoga. And I think it's utilising social media in a way that can benefit them rather than trigger them and upset them. So we always advise unfollow accounts that aren't bettering you, if they aren't motivating you to be a better person, or they're not spurring you on with nice quotes. If it's someone who's posting pictures where they are massively edited, or their perception on life is not benefiting you in any way, get rid of it. It's easy to just unfollow, block if you have to. There's been times where I've unfollowed friends on social media because the things that they post just isn't good for me, and I think it's being able to acknowledge what is serving you and what isn't, and that's the main thing that we try and get a message across, because social media, as we say, it is good when it's utilised the right way.
I'm not sure, because I'm not sure we've got to grips with that as a sort of a country. Like, I'm of the generation where social media became a thing. You're of the generation where social media has always been a thing, but we're still at a point where it's kind of like it's almost like you've just got to accept it all because it's all out there. If people say horrible stuff, they go, "Oh, what do you expect? It's Twitter." Or if people, post images, which, "Oh, what do you expect? It's Instagram." Like, there's an acceptance that this stuff is going on, and we've not quite figured out a way yet of going, well, actually, I don't need to hear that. People always say, "Oh, make sure you follow people who've got different political views to you." Don't bother. It's just going to wind you up. You're just going to be wound up about things. You can find yourself in arguments for no reason that benefit absolutely no one.
Exactly.
You're not going to persuade anyone any different. It's just a waste of everybody's time.
It's
Get
such
a hobby.
a huge and universal thing, though, so it will be hard to control it overall, but you can control what you see, and I think that's what a lot of people need to focus on.
But I think that's an issue for the people very much higher up within social media need to get to grips with a little bit more in terms of getting blocks on things that should be blocked. I know that Tumblr has got rid of a lot of aspects of their platform to protect younger kids, to protect people from self-harm, because Tumblr was very much, I remember when I was like 13, 14, it's very explicit with things that get shown because there's no regulation. So I think it's a part of our thing to tackle too, but also the bigger platforms to deal with as well.
See, I was nodding there where you were talking about Tumblr, but I've never been on it, so
don't.
I'm going to presume that what you said there was absolutely right. I've noticed as well, actually, I mentioned Mental Health Awareness Week. The Grand Old Team, which is an Everton podcast and forum, their forum has got a Mental Health Awareness Week sort of section on there as well. I think that's a great thing where it becomes, look, you're here to talk about, in this case, Everton, or you're here to talk about something else, but actually while you're here is a conversation you can have about mental health, which I think is sometimes the perfect way, because it's not like you're tricking people into it, but people go, "Oh, I'm comfortable here expressing my opinion about a football club, so maybe I'll express my opinion about how I feel about a particular matter within an environment that I understand as well." Just remind us about the foundation events that you've got going, your drop-ins and your chat sessions. When do they take place? How often do they take place? And how can people join in?
So they happen weekly, every Thursday evening, 6:30 till 8:30. It's at the
Old School House.
Do you know the full address?
No, but I can't get it up.
It's on Heighton Hay Road, so it's in Heighton. It's completely accessible, so there's a bus station right by, which all the buses go to. It's like 5-second walk from there, but as we say, if people are nervous to come, we can meet them at the bus station, meet them off the bus, meet them at the door, anywhere that they want to be met, to make it accessible and easy for them. It's wheelchair accessible. So during the drop-in sessions, it's completely tailored to the certain people who come to groups. So there might be things that are brought up one week that we'll address the following week. So the things that we've done so far is we've done the elephant in the room, which basically we've drawn a big elephant on a poster and we got everyone to stick on sticky notes of insults that they've been called or stigmas that they may have had themselves around mental health, and then we just tackled them, because it is literally the elephant in the room. It is a sense that people want to say, "Oh, I got called such and such a word because I opened up about this," but no one wants to make people feel bad for saying those words. I think especially we always speak about family life in group, and some people might say, "Oh, I don't want my mum to feel bad that I feel this way." But sometimes it's about accepting that you feel that way. So during group, we'll tackle personal things on a group basis. We also deal a lot with past trauma, body image, but we do it in a easily accessible way. It's not like we're picking on people saying, "Tell me how you feel."
Absolutely.
It's saying we'll all do a group activity and we'll address things through this group activity.
I'll point people in the direction of the website, the leecooperfoundation.co.uk, the leecooperfoundation.co.uk, and there's loads of links on there. There's an About Us, a blog, a contact, and a shop as well. I think you can buy
We
a
brought
mug.
you a mug.
Oh, I got a mug. There we go. Brilliant stuff. The Lee Cooper Foundation, huge congratulations on what you've done and the circumstances in which you set it up as well. Losing such a close friend, I think, an absolute credit. And often people think young people have got nothing about them these days. Lily, Emily, your credit to yourselves and the work you're doing, and I'm sure Lee would be smiling when he's seen what you're working on as well. There's a brilliant picture of Lee on the website as well, the leecooperfoundation.co.uk. Mental Health Monday, talking about mental health on the radio every Monday as part of Radio City Talk.
Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
On Radio City Talk.